Hi everyone on YouTube land, how are you? Alan here on Physical Media News back again with another video for you. This is one of these tag videos that I've come up with an idea for myself. Seems I've partaken in quite a few of the other ones suggested. Thought it'd be nice to do one of my own for change. So what I have for you is my 10 favourite comic book adaptations. I know straight away someone would say, well, why not just 10 favourite superhero films? There is a very valid reason for that. There's a lot of really good films out there that are comic book adaptations and they're not superhero films. So that's why I've gone down that road. And in the interest of making the task a little bit easier, even though it was quite difficult, I'm not allowing any animated movies in because there's tons and tons of them. To be honest, that could be a separate video that I'll do at some stage, but there's tons of animated comic book adaptation movies out there, so we'll give them miss for this one and just concentrate on the live action. Just first and foremost, as these tag videos is just a personal opinion of mine, that's all. This isn't the definitive 10 best comic book adaptations of all time. It's always a matter of opinion, but we're all respectful of each other, and these are just my 10 favourites. You'll have different ones. There's a few people who would like to tag at the end, but we'll leave that till then. As usual, some honourable mentions, which I'm just going to fly through, and then onto the main body, the top 10. So if you'll bear with me, let's get straight into it. The first honourable mention I'm going to go with is this hefty box set I have of the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Long history this film has, obviously. Some of you might remember the original one was being directed by Zack Snyder. He sadly had to leave the project because his young daughter committed suicide. Very tragic state of affairs. Joss Whedon was brought in. At the time, it was thought just to finish the movie, and whatever, he ended up reshooting quite a bit of it. The one that came out, let's be honest, it left a lot to be desired. It wasn't a good film at all, to be honest with you. And finally, some years later, due to pressure from fandom, Zack Snyder was allowed back up by Warner Bros., given a few quid and allowed to release what would have been his version of the film. It's a 4-hour sprawling epic is the best way to describe it, which I know sounds a long time, but once you get into it, the time flies by. I think it's a brilliant film. Never saw it in the cinema, unfortunately, but this is a Film Arena box set that I managed to pick up on eBay at a decent enough price. I'm really glad to have it. So, Justice League Snyder Cut, honourable mention. The next one, it's getting an honourable mention because it's either kind of the wrong way around. This is a film, Sam Raimi's Darkman, which is great fun. Great cast with Frances McDormand and Liam Neeson in the title role. An awful lot of fun, but it's actually the wrong way around for it to get into my list. The film was an original idea by Sam Raimi, and it became a short-lived comic book actually, but the film itself is terrific fun. This is a lovely 4K edition as well too. It's an awful lot of fun. You can clearly see watching it certain tropes that were to appear in the Spider-Man movies that Sam Raimi took on. Particularly the music was done by the same composer, Danny Elfman, but it's an awful lot of fun if you've never seen it. So, Darkman. Next honourable mention, haven't already mentioned it, is the original 2002 Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi directing. Pain me to leave this out, but it's just one of them things. Not everything can get in, but you know, cracking film. Tobey Maguire was great in the role. Really did open the door, I think, for the MCU to come along a few years later. Showed that these films were viable. Terrific film, loads of action, good storyline, good performances. Willem Dafoe was the Green Goblin, one of the great screen villains. So, yep, Spider-Man 2002. Next one, this was really painful as well. Superman with Christopher Reeve from 1978. It's a legend of a film. Don't really need to say an awful lot more than that. The real success of it was Christopher Reeve playing the two roles so brilliantly. You'd almost believe they were two different actors, but his Clark Kent allegedly was based a little bit on Cary Grant, which is interesting, but there you go. Superman 78. And the next one, the best of the early X-Men movies, in my opinion, from the early 2000s, X-Men 2. This is the pick of the bunch, in my opinion. Really excellent film. Hugh Jackman front and centre, but ably supported by a great cast. Brian Cox is the baddie, gives a good solid performance, then doesn't he always, but just a really good backstory for Wolverine, and as I said, ably supported by a really great cast, lots of action, a lot of heart and soul in it as well, so in my opinion, it's, as I said, it's the best of the early X-Men movies. Next one, anyone that's 4K collectors like myself, does happen occasionally, or a film that you might have liked previously, you learn to love it when they bring out a fabulous 4K restoration of it. That's certainly true of The Mask. And this bears out my point at the start of the video. Not an awful lot of people realise that this is a comic book. Well, it was. The 4K restoration out of it is just off the charts. Like, the colours just absolutely bounce off the screen. Sound is brilliant as well too. Jim Carrey being the total Jim Carrey package, like giving it all and just going anywhere and everywhere. Really enjoyable, and as I said, the 4K restoration really did make it an even more enjoyable film. It almost made the top 10. And then the last honourable mention, some people will probably be surprised by this, but there's other Avengers movies I prefer. It's Avengers Endgame, the one that kind of brought to an end the first big cycle, 23 movie run of Marvel. Hindsight being a wonderful thing, maybe this is the point they should have stepped off a little bit and taken a break for a while, but they just kept going with mixed results. But that's a topic for another day. But Avengers Endgame, don't get me wrong, it's a terrific movie. I just think there was too much pressure maybe for fan service and to tie up storylines, which made the plot a little bit overly much at times, with too much going on. But nonetheless, it's a terrific film. It's a great way to end the run. And as I said, maybe that's where they should have stepped off, but they didn't. And maybe things will pick up again with the upcoming Spider-Man film and Avengers Doomsday towards the end of the year. Here's hoping so anyway. But yeah, Avengers Endgame. Right, let's get cracking. So, top 10. My top 10 favourite comic book adaptations. So, coming in at 10. Again, I don't think a lot of people realise this is based on a comic stroke graphic novel, 30 Days of Night. Those of you that haven't seen it, basically if you live in a part of the world where it goes dark for a month each year, the last thing you really need is an infestation of vampires in the town, but that's exactly what happens. Blu-ray's spectacular. I like the cinematography and the colour palette in it is excellent, and it's a really terrifically enjoyable movie. It is coming out on 4K later this year in a special edition steelbook, which, to be, in my opinion, is ridiculously priced. So certainly at the moment, I won't be going there, but it's a terrific film and highly recommend it to anybody. So 30 Days of Night coming at 10. Coming in at 9, another Avengers movie, Avengers Infinity War. Best way I can describe Infinity War is this way. I think it's the modern day equivalent of Empire Strikes Back. An unbelievably memorable ending, which caused a lot of emotion in the cinema when I was at it, I remember. But it's important in life to learn that sometimes the good guy doesn't always win, sometimes the bad guys win, and that's what happens here. Thank God, in a sense, that when we saw the ending to this, we knew we only had to wait a year for the follow-up Avengers Endgame, because back in the day, I often had to wait 3 or 4 years between these films. But we knew we were coming back the following year to see the resolution and the end of the story. But terrific film. Saw an interview with Robert Downey recently, where it was on a podcast with Rob Lowe actually, where he says he does get a little bit frustrated that people don't consider his work in the MCU as acting. He feels he's done some of his best work in it, and I would tend to agree with him. He's really, really excellent in this film. He and James Brolin's Thanos are kind of the front and centre aspect of the film. What a great screen villain Thanos is as well too. Brilliantly played by James Brolin. Wonderful film. In my opinion, far better than Endgame. But then again, no Endgame exists without this setting it up for us. So Avengers Endgame. So coming in at 8. From around 1998, I think this came out, the first Blade movie with Wesley Snipes in the eponymous title role. One of the most memorable opening sequences in a film I can ever remember, to be honest with you. Quite how they got coverage of my trip to Ibiza that year, I'll never know, but yeah, never mind. Just the premise itself, I remember reading the comic book back in the day, which I really loved. So the premise is just like a good vampire fighting bad vampires. Just really, really good. Good solid trilogy. People often diss on the third one, but I don't think it's that bad. It's not brilliant. It just wasn't as good as the first two, but that often happens with trilogies. But yeah, Blade, super, super film. Highly recommend it. Yeah. So, coming on to 7. Namely Colours Mask in this one. I love Christopher Reeve as Superman. I mean, he set the standard, which few have matched. I just think Henry Cavill is a brilliant Superman. I've said this before in the past, and I love this film, Man of Steel. Great first entry in what we all thought was going to be maybe 2 or 3 films with Henry in the title role. Sadly, didn't work out that way because Warner's decided they wanted to rush the whole Justice League thing and around that, but I think he's fabulous in the role, and I love this film. The score from Hans Zimmer is fantastic. It's not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, but it's massively enjoyable. The score, as I said, is fantastic. Henry is just the perfect fit in the role. The one thing I will say is his Clark Kent maybe is a little bit weaker than Christopher Reeve's version of it, but that's not to detract from his performance as the lead character. He just really looks the part, and it's a really excellent film. Hindsight being a wonderful thing, really Warner should have concentrated on doing a sequel to this, maybe another one before bringing all the other characters like Batman and Wonder Woman in. But look, it's done now, but this is just a really terrific film, and I love rewatching it at least once or twice a year. So, Henry Cavill and Man of Steel. Coming at 6. You know me, there's always Batman's going to make an appearance at some stage, won't he? So this is the Batman from 2022, I believe, when this came out. Sequel currently in pre-production and ready to shoot, I believe. So exciting news. There is a potential, I feel, that if Robert Pattinson ends up doing 3 of these films, which I assume is the plan, he may well be seen as the best portrayal of the character ever. I'd be quite optimistic about that. This film is a really dark, almost film noir take on the character, much closer to the comic book stroke graphic novels that I read a lot of and collected over the years, very adult orientated. The real serial killer movie vibe to elements of Seven and Zodiac in here. Paul Dano as the Riddler is the main villain in it, but other bad guys along the way as well too. Ably supported by Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. Most Batman films are Batman trying to figure out how to be Bruce Wayne. This is kind of Bruce Wayne trying to figure out how to be Batman in a sense. Just really epic film. Can't wait for the sequel. Coming out 5, the one that got the whole ball rolling with the MCU. The first Iron Man movie from 2008 with RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. However, a guy was born to play the role. This is it. Jon Favreau, the director, had to fight tooth and nail to get him into the part because at the time his career was severely in decline after his well-publicised legal troubles. But this is the same year that Tropic Thunder came out, so this really got his career back on track, and he is Tony Stark. It's as simple as that. I remember going to see this at the cinema and 15 minutes gone. The guys have just nailed it here. They've just got the tone perfectly correct. Good baddie and Jeff Bridges is always good value for money. But yeah, this is the one that started the whole MCU ball rolling. If this hadn't worked out, we wouldn't have the plethora of films that we have now. Some people maybe wish we hadn't, but should never be forgotten. I know it's easy to diss Marvel now, but I mean, they did produce some really phenomenally good films over a long period, and I feel they'll come around again at some stage, maybe this year, next year, whatever. But yeah, this is the one that started it all rolling. So the first Iron Man movie. So now, coming in at number 4, another Batman film, the iconic Batman from 1989 with Michael Keaton. This is actually quite a rare media book edition that I managed to pick up more by luck than chance, to be honest with you, but really glad to have it. Hard to believe we're getting close to 40 years when this was out, but this is the one that really reinvented the superhero film. It's the first blockbuster that intentionally set out to be a blockbuster. I mean, the marketing budget on this film alone was crazy money, but it paid off in spades. Jack Nicholson as the Joker, the right Joker for his time. It's a different generation from the later Batman film, so he's the right guy to do it at the time. Set the correct tone. It's just phenomenally good film, really enjoyable. Michael Keaton. Shame he never got to do the third one. I often wish they'd let Tim Burton stay on to do the third one, and it would have been better than the one we got. It's not to diss Val Kilmer, but it definitely took a much lighter, campier tone when Joel Schumacher took over. But yeah, this was always going to get into the top 10, like it was one of the first ones I thought of. So Batman 1989. And we go to the medal positions, and coming at the bronze medal, probably the X-Men, best X-Men related movie of them all, Logan, with the great Hugh Jackman and the even greater Sir Patrick Stewart, in my opinion. You know, films of this genre never really are taken seriously for Oscar consideration. I really don't know why. I mean, this is the first R-rated X-Men movie. It needed to be. It is very violent in places, but the story dictates that. And it's a great farewell to the original portrayal of the character Wolverine. You know, the one that we have now in the Deadpool universe is a different iteration of the character, even though it's played by the same actor. Look, it's multiverse, it's comic books, what can I say? But this is just a wonderful, wonderful film. Fantastic. As I said, Sir Patrick Stewart is brilliant in it. Any of you that own the 4K and haven't done so yet, can I suggest you have a look at the black and white version that's included, because it gives a whole new tone and meaning to the film. It's funny how that can happen, but you know, there you go. But it just works really well. So Logan is coming in the bronze medal position. Now the next one, the silver medal position, and I know a lot of people definitely won't realise this is based on a comic book. I actually own the comic book, but don't ask me to find it. I'll be here till next Christmas. But it's a History of Violence, David Cronenberg film, starring Viggo Mortensen and co-starring the wonderful Ed Harris, who's never, in my opinion, ever given a bad performance in the film. Open to correction on that, let me know in the comments. But I read an interview with Viggo Mortensen recently saying this is the project that he really enjoyed working most on, and I can see that. As the title would suggest, plenty of violence in it, but again, it's necessary. It's an old story trope, a guy with a past who's trying to make a new life for himself and a new name, but you know, unfortunately in these things, your past can often come back to haunt you. And this is certainly what happens here. It's a really great film, wonderfully directed and acted. Highly, highly recommend it. And as I said, probably a lot of people that wouldn't know it's based on a comic book with a history of violence. So what's number one? I think so many will have guessed already. It is a Batman film, and it's, in my opinion, the best Batman film ever done to date, and probably the best comic book adaptation movie ever done. Is of course 2008's The Dark Knight, which the late great Heath Ledger got a posthumous Oscar for. It was well deserved too, not like some cynical people say he only got it because of his tragic passing. That's absolute nonsense. The guy was just exceptional in the role. Still annoys me a little bit that they were willing to give him a nomination for Best Supporting Actor but not nominate the film for Best Film, because it certainly deserved it. Masterpiece of the film. One of those ones that's a must own on 4K if you're a 4K collector like myself. It's just, I can't fault the film. I love rewatching it at least a couple of times a year. Christian Bale to date is the best actor to play the role on screen, in my opinion. It may change in time, as I said with Robert Pattinson earlier on, but for the moment anyway, this is the best Batman movie ever done. And as I said, in my opinion, the best comic book adaptation ever done. So there you go. That's the number one. So there you go, guys. Tried to fly through that because I know it's summer, the weather's gorgeous, and people are enjoying the sun on holidays, so certainly hope you are, and the World Cup as well. Typical, isn't it? Wall-to-wall football on TV and the sun is splitting the skies, but sure, there you go. That's my favourite top 10 comic book adaptations. Just going to throw it out there. I'm going to tag a few people. Going to tag Jodie at Jodie's Movie Round, who I know is a big Batman fan, but I'd be interested in your take on other comic book adaptations, Jodie. So let's see what you got. And just to reiterate, guys, never any rush on this, and of course you don't have to do it because I know it can be difficult to find time to do these things. Another guy I would like to tag is Pete, Playtendo guy. I know he's a big MCU fan, like myself, so I'd be interested to know how he feels about other comic book adaptations. So over to you, Pete. Greetings and salutations to you. I hope you're well, and I would look forward to seeing your list. But as I said, no pressure. Just do it in your own time or don't do it. It's difficult to find time, as I know. I'd also like to ask Andy at Forgotten World of Movies, because I know he's a big superhero comic book adaptation fan like myself, so I'd love to hear his thoughts. I know you've got a massive collection, Andy, so it won't be easy, but I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on this. And last one I'm going to tag Marty, good friend Marty from the north of Ireland, me from the south. I know, again, like me, he's a good Batman fan, so love to hear your thoughts on other adaptations. I know he loves the Superman 78 film as well too. Close and dear to his heart like it is to mine, so let's see what you got, guys. And I'll just reiterate as again, there's absolutely no pressure to do this. Just do it in your own good time, or not at all. If you have the time, it'd be interesting to see what your takes are on it. So that is it from me, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please like, share and comment, and even hype the video if you want. I'm getting really close to 150 subscribers at this stage, which is way beyond what I ever expected, so I'm very flattered. So maybe this might help me get over that landmark. There's always these little landmarks as a YouTuber that you like to achieve, so maybe that might happen soon, but doesn't mean I'm not happy with what I've got so far. Always appreciate the support and the comments. But you'll probably never realise how much it does mean to me, to be honest. But anyway, thanks for watching today. Hope you enjoyed it, as I said, and we'll talk to you again really soon. Thank you.